Hi, this is Buck Moore. Welcome to the Housecoat Chef, another installment, and today we're going to be cooking chicken breast with red wine sauce and button mushrooms. Let's go into it. First step, saute the chopped garlic, onions, and button mushrooms together. Make sure they're nice and cooked, and when it's good and hot, add some red wine to the mixture. You should hear some steam, and you should hear some sizzle in the pan. So the temperature's got to be high enough. And then you want to add some black pepper. Adding black pepper is great for cooking, and a bit of salt for seasoning, but be careful on the salt. You don't want too much of the salt. When it cooks a little more, add some more red wine. Keep it cooking at a high temperature with the red wine. And then put the mixture aside for now. Melt some butter or margarine or olive oil or whatever you want. Add some flour to make the roux, which is the initial base of the sauce, and cook that for maybe 1 to 2 minutes. I say about 2 minutes. I usually do 2 minutes because you want to make sure that flour is cooked and you want to make sure there's no lumps in it. So as you're going along, stir it so that it is smooth and definitely cooked, and then you want to add some more red wine, but just a little bit at a time. I don't measure these things. This is not about measuring. This is about going by feel. So the quantities are really up to you, but it makes sense just to make enough sauce and to have the right consistency of the sauce in order that it makes sense to you, of course. So once you stir in all the red wine, you're going to want to cook it for a little bit. And here we are cooking. It's smooth, so cook for a few minutes. You want to make it thick, not too thick. If it does get thick, you might want to add some water into it to thin it out a bit, or maybe a little bit of red wine. But be careful, you don't want too much red wine, because then it just takes over the flavor. You don't want to do that. You want to enhance the flavor. At this point, when I feel it's cooked enough, I'm going to turn the heat down a little bit, and then perhaps add some water. I do tend to add a little water if it's too thick. Not too much. Less than a quarter of a cup, maybe an eighth of a cup at a time. And once it's got a great consistency, you want to add the sauteed mixture, and you want to stir it in. So you've got the garlic, button mushrooms, and onions, and you stir it into the sauce. And you're going to want to cover that just for a little while so that it cooks on its own. And maybe it's really a judgment call, but I add black pepper afterwards. I like black pepper flavor in the sauce, and I think it really just brings out some sort of bite. So again, put a little more water in. If you feel that it's tasting too watery, you might want to exchange that and put wine instead of water. Okay, now we're going to remove the sauce, put it in a separate dish, and saute the chicken. Saute it till it's done, till the juices run clear. So I split the breasts apart a little bit. I sniff and I go, mmm, as it's cooking. Okay, well, I didn't have to add that in. Anyway, so once it's cooked through, and this is after I cover it. I cover it for a few minutes. I don't know, maybe 10 minutes or something like that. Make sure it cooks through. I cover it with the sauce. So I'm covering the chicken with the sauce, and I'm simmering it for another little while. And it's a judgment call. You can just keep an eye on it, but it's simmer. You keep the temperature down enough so that it simmers properly. And you don't want to overcook it. You just want it to simmer, let the juices cook in, and you're going to end up with a very flavorful dish at the very end. There it is, simmering. And when it's done, I serve it. I like to serve it with something crunchy and cold, which is a coleslaw, and steamed broccoli, and that's what the dish would end up looking like. I did shoot this thing on my iPhone because I wanted to cook with one hand and shoot the video to see how it would work out. So I hope you enjoy it.